Well, hey there guys, Eugene here, and this is part three of making or brewing your own home-brewed kombucha. Before you watch this video, of course, please watch part one and part two about what needs to happen before you get to this step. But this step is going to be all about bottling and the second fermentation. All right, friends, well, this is part two of making kombucha. Now we have waited for it to ferment. And as you can tell here, there's a lot of bubbles formed at the top. The whole jar is actually bubbling. And the way you can tell that it's ready to be bottled for the second fermentation is that it's going to have a little bit of a more of a sour taste to it. It's going to taste less like tea and more like kombucha. And this is a process that you can wait, depending on your taste, you can wait it out longer than 10 days. Some people go 20 days, some people go even 30. Right here we're at 11 days. And again, what's going to be important is that you actually taste it before you bottle it. And then wait for your results, and then if you don't like it, if you want it more sour, just wait longer. It's all the thing that you'll build to taste. I personally wait till about 10 to 12 days, and the temperature in which this brews is about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, if your temperature is higher in the room, it's going to be a faster fermentation, so you might have to wait less days. So keep all of that in mind. But when it's ready like this, to my liking, I'm going to give it a taste, make sure I like it, and then we're going to bottle it. And I'll show you how that's done. Just going to go ahead and pour a little bit. And you can see right away there, when I pour it, you can see all the bubbles fizzing up out of it. That means it's really nicely carbonated. I'm going to give it a taste. Yep, definitely good. I've tasted it before, of course, but just checking again. That tastes like it's ready to bottle. Let's take a cheesecloth off here and take a look inside. So this here is a very normal looking SCOBY. You're gonna have some spotting on it. It's gonna be a different colors. It's gonna have some folds in it. Very healthy, normal looking. Okay, well now, time to make the flavoring. So Lana's going to cut up some flavors here. We're making raspberry, mango, and blueberry. Pretty straightforward. You cut them into smaller pieces like this to put into the bottles. And then we're going to pour the bottles. We'll show you. Now, just to mention, we've made quite a few flavors, and I've experimented a lot with different ones. And little guy is making some noise for us. The ones that we found that are really tasty are the ones we're making right now, especially, which is mango, which is a little bit more explosive when it ferments in the second fermentation. But blueberry and raspberry are amazing. Other ones that are good, strawberry is pretty good. With just honey, actually, putting honey into kombucha is really good. And you can really experiment with a lot of different ones. We got this honey citron and ginger tea at Costco once, and that worked pretty well. And there are a lot of other ones, so you can really just experiment and see how it goes. There are multiple bottles you can use, but the ones that I've chosen are these pressurized bottles that I bought actually at a local brewery store. And I will put a link in the description to some bottles that you can get on Amazon that are very similar. The important piece is that they are actually pressure rated and they can hold a lot of pressure on the inside. Not all bottles have that. Some are decorative bottles with similar looking lids, and they don't have the pressure rating. These have these nice little pop caps that you put down like that, and then you seal off. So these are 32 ounce bottles here. We also have smaller bottles that are 16 ounce, just half of this. And when we talk about recipes, we're going to talk about per 32 ounce bottle. So when we put these into bottles, we will show you about how much we put into a bottle for a 32 ounce bottle. Some of these, however, you need to add sugar to. I just gauge it by how sweet the fruit is. So for example, mango is extremely sweet, so we do not add any sugar to it. Raspberry, we do add some sugar to it, so that would be like a half a teaspoon per 32 ounce bottle of just cane sugar. Or blueberry here as well, not as sweet as mango, so we will add about a half a teaspoon of sugar. So the first one we're going to make here is the just straight up honey kombucha. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pour a little bit of kombucha into the bottle, just about that much. 5 or 10 ounces of kombucha into the bottom of the jar. Now we're going to add some honey to it. And to be precise, to a 32 ounce bottle like this, we are just going to be adding 1.5 ounces of honey. And we use a scale, add it in, and the reason for adding the kombucha first is that the honey does not stick to the bottom of the jar, of the bottle, and you can actually stir it like that to make sure that it's dissolved before you pour the rest of the kombucha into there. So now we just pour the rest of the bottle full of kombucha. We use a little funnel like that to make it less bubbly when it goes down. The more CO2 stays in the kombucha right now, the more will be retained when it's being fully fermented and carbonated in the refrigerator, or during the second fermentation before you refrigerate it rather. Again, this is a sign of nicely ready kombucha with all the bubbling going up on the top and that cream on top. And we let this settle out a little bit, and then we add a little bit more until you're just about 2 inches off of the top before you close the lid. So drop in the fruit through the top just like that. Sometimes you have to use, if it's more liquid or more sloppy, you can use a little funnel. And we're filling to about 1 inch or 2 from the bottom. Not much. Just about like that. That's enough for a 32 ounce bottle. And then we're going to add a little bit of sugar. Half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of sugar. Again, this is to taste, and you can add as much as you want or as little as you want, depending on how sweet you want it to be. And now again, just like with the honey, we're going to add the kombucha until we reach just about 1 to 3 inches, no more than 3 inches from the top. Now this is where it's really nice to have one of these mason jars or other jars that has a spout. We usually leave the SCOBY up on top of the jar, and we pour it through here, and it does not, we don't mix anything, we just let it pour the way it is. Some people prefer to mix it all up before they pour, but we find that this works just as great because there's a lot of floating bacteria and yeast inside of this jar. And this is the mango. Again, just feed them in and put in about 1.5 inches or 2 from the bottom. And again, just fill with the raw kombucha and seal the bottle. Repeat as above for the blueberries. At the end of pouring the kombucha, we always make sure to leave about 1.5 to 2 liters of kombucha in the jar. This, of course, is going to depend on how much kombucha you make total. We make about 9 to 10 liters total every time. That's about 1/8 of the tea left for when you add the new tea so that it can brew. Refer back to the first video about how the first couple brews go for more information there. After that, we're going to go ahead and label the bottles, and we're going to let them sit at room temperature for 2 to 3 days for the second fermentation.
In the refrigerator they go. Now to cool overnight.
The reason you want to cool it before you try it, I think I mentioned it earlier, but in case I didn't, is that when it's fermenting for the second fermentation, on top of your fridge or wherever you're doing it, the CO2 that is being produced and stored up here in the top of the bottle, if you open it right there and then, it's going to escape, plus all of the CO2 that's supposed to be dissolved and is dissolved in the kombucha is going to try to escape, and it's going to really bubble up fast. If you put it in the fridge, it cools it down just like any soda drink, or pop. That also, is that same idea. When it's chilled, it stays dissolved and has that nice sparkling taste to it. So same thing with kombucha. You want to make sure that you don't open it up right away, because it's going to probably kind of erupt. Now, fair warning, some of the flavors, as I've discussed before, they're more reactive, meaning that when you try to open them, they're going to really spout out the top, and I'll show you how to deal with that here in a second. Some of these don't have that problem, so like the honey, which I think is over here. Oh, sorry, that's the mango. Yeah, honey right here. This one does not have that problem. It does not really do that. I don't think the raspberry does, but it also depends on which kind of raspberry you used. But anyway, before you open it up for the first time, just test it. And the way you test it is, for example, this raspberry kombucha. You just begin to open it up, and you will see pretty quickly if it's going to erupt out of there or not. And here you can see that it's actually quite okay. And now it's starting to erupt a little bit, so I'm going to close it off just for a sec and let some of that steam off. Let me show you a little closer. So you can see right there, it's still bubbling up. I just kind of popped the lid for a minute, and you can see that it's still bubbling up quite a bit. And so I'm going to leave that for a minute. The other ones here, so this is the honey. By the way, look how nice that looks. Out of the fridge, just getting that sweat on it. The other thing you might want for this is just a nice little kind of a beverage strainer, I guess I would call that. Because some people want to have the fruit, some people don't. And so it's just a personal preference kind of thing. We're going to open this back up and see that's erupting just a little bit there. So this is where you want to be a little careful. So yeah, this one's definitely actually going to be trying to erupt a little bit. So let's put it off to the side for just a minute. I'm going to try the blueberry here. And definitely wants to react as well. Man, it looks really beautiful though with all the bubbles coming up. I think the honey almost never has this issue. There we go, and it doesn't really bubble up as much. This one you don't have to strain even. And you just pour it, and it's ready to go. Some people really say this is their favorite one. It's definitely good. So if you're having the issue of them being just slightly reactive more than they should be, the way I deal with that is just take a nice metal bowl or any kind of bowl, put it down. I will rinse the bottle or just wash it, take the label off. In this case, this is raspberry. It's being a little reactive for me. And just in case it is really reactive, you take a Ziploc bag, gallon in this case, put it over the top and just open it up into that. And just let some of it rush out like that, and that's very normal. And then usually, if it's more than that, I'll kind of let it go for a bit. But if it's doing okay, not too much. In this case, I'm not losing much out of the top. I'm just going to go ahead and pour it through the little strainer, just because some people like to have the fruit and some don't. And I'll just pour it straight into the cup like that. And there you can see, I mean, that's carbonated, guys and gals. Look at that color and everything. Sometimes you can strain through a lot of it and then put it back in the bottle, but then you lose some of the carbonation. So in this case, I'd actually close this off. And I lost maybe just about 5 tablespoons in there. But after that's poured, you can give it a shot. Man, is that good. So that's strawberry. And so what I'll do for the mango is I'll wash the bottle just in case, just make sure it's nice and clean, because I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have some pour over here. This one's amazing because it's not doing that. The one time that I say it's gonna do it, it doesn't, of course. So let's just try it straight up the way it is. That's amazing. That's mango. And then the last one we're gonna try here is blueberry. And I think this one is also being a little reactive for us. And actually, if you hurry and don't let it get too far, there we go. So this one is definitely reactive, and if I would have left it standing there, it would have gone over the top, but it didn't. And so the other thing here is that the reason I'm using the little strainer is because some people don't like the blueberries in their drink. My wife really likes them. Anyway, I showed you how to deal with it if it does feel like it's gonna really blow out the top. So that's how you do it. And here they are. This is blueberry, raspberry, that was kombucha. Sorry, that was mango. Amazing. Let's try the blueberry. Let me describe the taste to you as well. It's not as acidic as the ones you get at the store. It's like a slight sweetness. You can regulate that by adding sugar, as I showed you. And it's just mild and really good. I don't know, it's just like a nice summer drink for sure. We have it in the winter, not as much in the winter, just because you want some hot tea or whatnot during the winter, colder months. But there we go. That's that. Kombucha. Now you've seen how to start it, how to first ferment, second ferment. What are you thinking to yourself, boy? What do you think? Some more blueberry? Is that good enough? Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. All right, I think that's the end of that video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, watch for part 4, which is going to be about June, if we do get a chance to make it. That one's going to be very similar to this whole series, but it's going to be in one video. I think a lot of the ideas are the same. I'm just going to mention the little intricacies of June. Or maybe it'll be more videos. We'll see. So that's the plan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to praise God. And we'll see you guys in the next video from Review Outdoor Gear. Okay, say hi to everybody and then say subscribe to the channel if you like our videos. And then say, I'll see you later in another one. Bye. Over there. See? Say bye.